a rigorous training and come out with a new man. Swami Vivekananda makes a beautiful reference to it. Remember, Indian culture is a unique culture. It's a very peculiar culture. All other civilizations, cultures, they believe in multifarious solutions for multifarious problems. The difference between Indian culture and other cultures is this. Rather, the other cultures say, for one problem there are various solutions. Ours is the reverse. We say, for all problems there is only one solution. For all problems there is only one solution. What is that solution? Let me quote in the words of Vivekananda only. Swamiji says, man's problems are understandably many, but the solution is one. Man must become a new kind of man who simultaneously manifesting scientific spirit and religious fervor or spiritual fervor becomes a new kind of man and eventually becomes free. Man's solutions, the solution to all problems lies in man's becoming a new kind of man. The problems are understandably many, but the solution is one. Man must become a new kind of man. That new kind of man must have two dimensions predominantly. The scientific dimension. Science is not a subject. That is another unfortunate note that today we are coming across in Indian education system. In the name of science, how much of information is being crammed into the holy space inside our boy, inside our girl. Sometimes I wonder why at all God has given an empty place inside. He should not have given an empty place at all. Everything must have been totally enmasked. Everything should have been so solid. It should have been solid, leaving no space, no room for any sort of an empty space inside. We are cramming simply some information. For heaven's sake, science is not a subject. Science is an approach. It is the way you are looking at things. Edison went to school for 3 months, but became recipient, became a man responsible for 2,000 solutions. Today in India, we have got people probably who know so many treatises on the subject of physics by heart. They know so many things by heart, but they never come anywhere to be called as a real scientist. They are not scientists in the true spirit, but they know so many things. They have so much of information. What a lopsided treatment to such a wonderful magic system that is called as education. On the one side, you go for lopsided systems. On the other hand, you heap the expectations. How at all you are going to reconcile between these two? Can it ever happen? Mahabharata comes across a situation of this kind long ago probably in India, and it says, it gives a beautiful observation. In India, in the present India, typically that sort of a situation obtains. What does Mahabharata say? Many people are there who are like this. How they are? Punyasya phalam icchanti, punyam na icchanti. Punyasya phalam icchanti, punyam nechanti manavaha. We want the fruits of punya, but we don't want to do punya. We want fruits of punya. Papasya phalam nechanti. We don't want the fruits of the papa. Papam kurvanti yatnataha. We deliberately do papa. Don't want the fruits of papa. We never do punya even in our dreams. But we always want the fruits of punya. So finally it distills down to say, we always are busy in doing papa, expecting the fruits of punya from that. What a ridiculous thing. What a ridiculous thing. Chanakya takes his stand upon this beautiful sentiment found in Mahabharata and warns Chandragupta again and again. At least a dozen times he warns Chandragupta, you are tending to a man of this kind. You are tending to be a man of this kind. Please don't do. Reset yourself on the right track. Reset. You have to reframe yourself. Remold yourself into the type of the man who is capable of having one kingdom at his disposal, becoming the emperor of India. How much Chanakya, how much training he imparted to Chandragupta. Most ordinary man later they become the first emperor as it is recorded in the history of India. How much of training he must have imparted. That is how once you are caught up in the hands of a great guru, a new birth will come. You are going to have that Dvijatvam, the second birth will come. Every man must go for deliberately this second birth and a new person must come out. Unless and until that new person has emerged out, he should not be counted eligible for any sort of a public service. This is the wisdom of India again. A part of political wisdom as propounded by Chanakya, earlier to that as propounded by Atri. Atri is the father of Indian political philosophy. Wonderful, like Plato is there for the West. Atri is for India. On the basis of Atri's political treatise, it is Chanakya who compiled all these things into one beautiful volume known as Arthashastra and went for all the elaborations of how the kingship must be, how one should rule the kingdom in a beautiful and very systematic way. So the second birth must come. The second birth will come at the hands of a guru through a very rigorous training whereby mind will be trained like anything. Now this psychophysical entity, which is a tiny, insignificant, useless, uneventful entity, it is something like a seed, a banyan seed, which you can blow off. You can just blow it off to a distance without any effort. So insignificant, so tiny. The same banyan seed, when put in the conducive atmosphere, when it is buried in the soil, watered, manured regularly, and hedged around, fenced around, and constant watch is given to it in the beginning. Later it sprouts and becomes a plant and grows on to become a huge mountainous tree, which is amazing, which is really awe-inspiring. Awesome. But earlier it was an insignificant seed. Typically, this is the example that is given in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In the conversation that ensued between the father and Aruni and Shvetaketu. Shvetaketu, Tattvamasi. The father and the teacher. Aruni says, Shvetaketu, the Atman inside, the self that is there inside is capable of blooming out. It is capable of evolving itself out into the whole cosmos. Whatever the whole cosmos that you see outside, the macrocosm is encapsulated in the microcosm inside, that is the mind of man. If you can just study your mind, it is as good as having studied the whole universe. That is how Indian scientists, they carried out their experiments. They never bothered to study the cosmos outside, rather paid all their attention towards this tiny self that is inside, and with the knowledge of that self, they became the people that had knowledge of almost everything. At their will, they could have the knowledge of anything, and they brought out all that knowledge in a book form, looking at which our T.S. Eliot is prompted to say, before the subtleties of these Indian philosophers, all our great European thinkers look like kindergarten boys. This is Indian culture. Indian methodology of capturing that intellectual power that a man is destined to. When a man undergoes such a training at the hands of a guru, why can't he become magnificent? Why can't he become a wonder, a human wonder? Why can't he become an amazing personality? That is the goal of every man as set forth by Indian culture. Krishna puts it in Bhagavad Gita. So beautiful, Arjuna, you know what is this Atman? Ashcharyavat. That is the definition both Kathopanishad and Lord Krishna also gives. This is Ashcharyavat. Yourself, always refer to yourself. Whenever you want to take a decision, refer your judgment to self. And there is always another thing that is known as the ego that wants to pretend for the selfhood. Ego is a very strong, very, very dominating pretender for selfhood. 99% of human beings, howsoever intellectuals they may be, howsoever great they may be in the realms of intellectuality, whatsoever may be their achievements in other fields, they automatically, naturally slip in this very, very vital issue at this strategic point. That is, instead of identifying their selfhood with the true self, they identify their selfhood with the ego. The result being tragedy. A remarkable man, but the life is a tragic one. A remarkable achiever, life is a tragic one. Why? Man has not been fully studied. Man has not been comprehensively, thoroughly studied. Only a cursory look at man has taken place. A superficial observation. Whatever datum that is available to the senses is kept as the basis for all sorts of interpretations. India does not believe in that. We don't believe. We never believe. Ramakrishna did not believe. Vivekananda did not believe. Krishna did not believe. Buddha, Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, all the great acharyas, Allama Prabhu of Karnataka, they never believed in all this. They wanted to study everything at the root and branch level. On that basis, Indian culture came. On that basis, all Indian thought current came. Looking at this thought current, see how every Westerner is dumbstruck. Westerners are dumbstruck. None of our philosophers, nor our Plato, nor our Kant, nor our Herbert Spencer can come anywhere near these Indian philosophers. If a Max Muller is prompted to say like that, what should we think of them? This is India. This is the land of light. Land of light. So therefore, India recognized it long ago that the real power of a man, the real energy of man is spiritual energy, the intellectual energy, intellectual energy which is under the guidance of spiritual energy. Intellectual force under the guidance of an enlightened spiritual light, an enlightened spiritual consciousness. Under the guidance, otherwise it goes astray, as what has taken place in the history of all the Western countries almost. I would like to recall to my memory the incidents. Oh, that's nearing me. Sorry, in another 2-3 minutes I am coming to conclusion. A beautiful incident, a very worthwhile incident takes place in the life of Napoleon. You know the history. Napoleon was caught up by the British and was thrown in that tiny island near Africa, Saint Helena, the name of the island. Saint Helena, he was imprisoned there. Napoleon, whenever a person is crumpled, when he is hit from all sides, then he goes to some sort of an introspection. Otherwise, he never bothers about always extrospection only. No introspection, outward. Oh, let us go, eat this, eat that, conquer this, conquer that. Go for this splendor, that splendor. All attention is outward. Kathopanishad takes notice of this long ago. Paranjakhani Vetrunat Swayambhoho Tasmat Parang Pashyati Na Antaratman. Nobody bothers to look into the Antaratman. But Napoleon did that, but he equally paid the penalty also for that. Any person that simply goes to be extrovert always, all through his life, without bothering to know the inner dimensions of his being, is bound to slip into an error, and he enters into that repentance, as that took place in the case of Napoleon. Napoleon, during the last days, while he was introspecting upon all the incidents that constituted his life history, was prompted to make an observation. He says, there are in this world two powers, the power of the spirit and the power of the soul. This is Napoleon's observation. The power of the spirit has always vanquished the power of the soul. Julius Caesar, Alexander, Charlemagne, and I have founded empires. But upon what the power of our genius did stand? Upon what the power of our genius did stand? Upon the power of this world. Jesus Christ alone founded his empire upon the power of the Spirit, and even to this long day, millions would die for him. You know the spirit of what he has said. He makes a reference to Jesus Christ because he knew only Jesus Christ. Here it doesn't mean to say only Jesus Christ. Men of the tribe of Jesus Christ, a spiritual man. Spiritual men like Buddha, a Krishna, a Rama, a Ramakrishna, they all have founded their empires upon the power of the Spirit, and even to this long day, millions would die for him. This should have been the observation of Napoleon. But unfortunately, there was no Ramakrishna. Buddha was there, but Napoleon was ignorant of it. What does it mean? He takes a vivid comparative study between the power of the sword and power of the Spirit. India understood it long ago and said goodbye to all the power of the sword. We were imperialists. We were expansive, but our policy of expansion was not around a political power. Rather, we wanted to have our expansion in the realms of culture, philosophy. We wanted to embrace the whole mankind and thus make them a part and parcel of India's hegemony. India's hegemony, where the central power is the power of love, power of selfhood, power of brotherhood, power of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This is how India showed its worth. We believed in that, and therefore we relegated political power to a secondary level. Of course, we paid a very heavy penalty. On this account, I am not taking shelter for all our debacles. No, that is not the thing. But whenever an Indian history is mentioned, it is presented, we must take due care to see that political power, political debacle of India, political strength should not be overemphasized, or it should always be given the second place and not the first place. All countries cannot have same sort of histories. The spirit of history as is relevant to America need not be the spirit of history as it is relevant in case of India. Because a saint has got a different type of power, a king has got another type of power. You can't measure the saint in terms of a kingly power, just as you can't measure the strength of a king in terms of saintly power too. So this is how India stands out as unique, but in two fields that are characterized with the highest evolved man. The man with the highest level of evolution is always the man that is associated with the spiritual world and with the intellectual world. The sensory world. Men are there who can be associated with the sensory world. Men are there that can be associated with the muscular world. India is never a country that has anything to do with either the muscular power or the sensory power. We have specialized ourselves in spiritual power. Therefore, whenever you are there to act as a judge, to say what really India is, as a parent, you want to say something about India, or as a teacher, you want to say something about India to your student in some way, please bear in mind that whenever India is to be interpreted, it must be interpreted as a country that occupies the highest position in the galaxy of nations, because we have been, we were, and we continue to be the spiritual masters, intellectual masters, masters of culture, the parameters that alone can sustain the mankind in all the peace, prosperity that it is trying to move towards. It is trying to move towards. My dear friends, there is so much to say. I have not even exhausted one page fully. I have 20 pages here. Not even one page has been totally referred to for presenting my this thing. But anyway, there is watch that is reminding me glaringly that you are transgressing your time limit. It is saying silently, well, I'm extremely happy that you all could come from very distant places, driving all the way from your home, probably a distance of 50, 60, 70 kilometers. Mr. Subrao has come from a distance of 100 kilometers almost. Several such people are there. It only shows that how much concern you have for knowing about your motherland, the great India, the great India. No second country can be there that can act as a substitute to India. Remember, in Bhagavata we come across an incident when the rishis pray to Krishna. Krishna appears and says, what boon you want to have from me? I am extremely pleased at your love, at your bhajan, at your singing my glory and all that. The rishis with their hands folded, in one voice they say, Krishna, we don't want any other boon. Please see that we are born in India only again and again. We are born in India only again and again, because there is a holy land. Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya and all such great human virtues can very easily come to a man. By virtue of his living on this land, all these great virtues can come. That is the greatness of the land you all hail from. That is a very great land. So, my dear friends, once again, I am thankful to the Human Glory organization that has been responsible for this program to become a reality, in the forefront of which we have our Anuradha and her husband Mr. Sunil, who have been extremely busy and very much interested in propagating the spirit of the organization Human Glory. As I said, we have got an orphanage there, about nearly 100 students are there presently taking their education etc. in that school. Mr. Subrao, a couple of years ago, he had come to that school and he has seen. And of course, we need the support, sympathy and all kinds of assistance from people who can think in terms of it, Just to give a little detail about that, we spent about 5,000 rupees for a day's expenditure for the hostel students. That means about $100 in American currency. So 300 such donors we need, because we need to take care of them for about 300 days. 60 days they go back to their houses, their nears and dear ones. Some of them don't have parents at all. Most of them are single parent. Father is not there, mother is there. If mother is there, father is not there, like that. So that sort of people that we are sheltering there. But it is with such people that we have been able to bring about such miraculous matriculation results and also academic achievements in various fields like yogasana and all that. There are several ways whereby you can help. I think the information brochure is there with our Anuradha. She has got that information brochure. If there is any person in the group who feels like doing something for this great cause, this year happens to be Swami Vivekananda's 150th birth anniversary. I want to increase the number of students to 150, commemorative of Swami Vivekananda's 150th birthday. Beyond that, we don't want to increase the number right now. We want to adopt about 150 such students, do something for their education. If proper education is given, 75% of their requirements are taken care of. That is the idea behind that. If anyone is willing to help, well, most welcome. Thankfully, your help will be accepted. Once again, I thank you all for a very patient listening, and I thank the Human Glory people for having provided this opportunity to share a few of my thoughts with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swami, Swami Veereshananda and Swami Nirbhayananda ji. Thank you all.
Just go up. Speaker. Any questions? Go ahead.
Questions? Yes, you are welcome to ask questions.
You are still in a mood to be here. Okay, questions are welcome, please.
So you want to ask that first and then shall I thank you? Maybe that's
I thought it is 9 o'clock and you are in a hurry to go back to your home. Okay, please come out.
Which book would you recommend, Swamiji, to basically expand on what you just explained to us in terms of getting a deep understanding of the essence and contributions of India's over the past 5,000 years? Which book would you recommend?
Which? Book, yeah. Yes. What is your mother tongue? Kannada. I myself am bringing out a book in another 3-4 months that will come. The title of the book is Mahan Bharatiya Samskruti. English book, I don't think there is any one book where you can get all this information. I have referred more than 100 books to present before you the information that I have brought here. So many books are there, like India's Cultural Heritage, published by Ramakrishna Mission, that has run into, I think, about 4 volumes. How many volumes? Cultural Heritage. 4 volumes. Each volume is so big that it requires one lifetime to go through it fully and thoroughly. So in Kannada, no problem. My book is coming. Please be in touch with Mr. Subramanian knows my number, and so many other people also know. You will have one copy. When I come here next time, I will be bringing those copies. It is nearing completion, and shortly it is going to press.
Swamiji ಅವರು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸೊ
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್
ನೀವು ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಎನ್ವೆಲಪ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಎನಿಬಡಿ
ನಾನು ಚಾಕ್ಲೇಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬರಬೇಕು.
It is very hard to draw a clear line between Papa or Punya. How do I know whatever the action I am doing is Papa or Punya? Because if you are killed in a battlefield, that is maybe Punya. If you kill someone sitting next to me, it may be a Papa. You never know.
That's good.
Right? So how do I know what my
it's
action
a beautiful question. A beautiful question, really. Very pertinent question too. Yeah, if you kill a person in the battlefield, it's a Punya. You know why? If you don't kill the enemy in the battlefield, he will enter into the mainland and will be killing hundreds of people in the countryside. By killing one person there in the battlefield, you are giving protection to hundreds of people in the interior. So definitely, when 2 options are there before you, either to kill one person or to pave the way for the murder of 100 people, as a man of prudent judgment, definitely you prefer to kill one man for saving 100 people. Probably that is how you can, and wherever there is more of selflessness, it is punya. In Ramayana, we come across a beautiful episode of this kind. Kausalya comes and says, Rama, you should not leave Ayodhya. You say to uphold your father's promise that was given to Kaikeyi, you are going to Aranya, Vanam, to help your father keep up his words. As a son, it is your duty to make your father, stick to his words. But now I am here. I am asking you not to go to forest. Don't go. And you you're of Shastra. Mother's version, mother's opinion is to be upheld more than that of father. What should Rama say? Rama says, Amma, Dharma is of two kinds. Samanya Dharma and Vishishta Dharma. We are sannyasis. To strike a personal note for a while, our parents still exist. They are 80 plus. They are given to the care of their grandson, who is still a student. There is no other person to take care of them other than their grandson. And a grandson who is a student, what sort of caring he can give, you all know. If you say, then what are you going to achieve, Swamiji? Deserting your parents and becoming sannyasis, what are you achieving? That question may pertinently arise in the mind of anyone who, at the superficial, tries to analyze this situation. Of course, I do not want to elaborate, but it is not so. Accepting monastic life is always the ultimate. Of course, the explanation may be necessary for that. Well, which has nothing to do directly with the subject we have chosen for today. Let me come back to the point. When Kausalya asks Rama to do it, Rama says, Amma, there are two types of dharma, Samanya Dharma and Vishishta Dharma. Now you are asking me not to go. My father has indirectly asked me to go. What should I do? You are right. Mother's position should always be held higher than that of the father, according to Shastra. I agree. But remember, if I follow your instruction, what will the future generations think of me?
Write down on the back of the Sanatana.
The future generations will never understand that Rama, in order to obey his mother, held himself back in Ayodhya. They never think of those lines. Rama just wanted a pretext in which he wanted to stick back to Ayodhya. He was just waiting for one pretext. If you know Kannada, one neva. He was just waiting for that one pretext. On some ground, he wanted to remain back. In Ayodhya, he waited for that. Kausalya supplied it very beautifully. And he is not a fool to go to forest when the kingship is knocking at the door. People think like that and they refrain from sticking to the scribbles very fast. They mistake me and they never bother to stick to principles in any way in their life. It should not be so. Whenever a man is in a fix as to what course he has to follow, then he has to take that course where more of self-sacrifice is involved, where more of selflessness is involved. That course where more of self-sacrifice is involved. Whether I have to move along this course or this way. By moving which way I am going to become more selfless. By moving this way I am going to sacrifice my self-interest more. Then I have to take this course. That is the ethics. Whichever course is the way where more of self-sacrifice is called for, that is the course one should adopt. So Papa, Punya, most of the times, it is not that easy. It is not that easy to come to the right judgment. But with a little of penetrative observation, penetrative study of the situation will reveal to you which is the course you need to adopt. I think I'm sure you are not satisfied with my answer fully. Huh? You are not satisfied?
I'm scared of sitting next to you.
Yeah, I'm not answering you fully for the reason you should not become absent for my next session.
When is your next visit, Swami?
Our organizers will know. Human glory, I don't know, probably. Any time it can happen, but not in another 5-6 months at least.
Swamiji, for the sake of the perception, Swamiji, namaskar. For the sake of the perception by the masses, is disobeying the rule that Matru Devo Bhava, the mother comes first. How is that reconciled?
Please, can you repeat your question? I could not get you properly.
From your answer, Swamiji,
Yeah.
Rama decided that for the sake of the perception of what people will think of him,
Yeah.
that he used a pretext to stay in Ayodhya. He did, but by doing so, he disobeyed his mother's instruction to stay in Ayodhya, which is, should he not follow his mother's direction, especially because it was directly given to him and because mother comes first before father?
He himself has given the explanation which I have reproduced just now. Rama, if the situation is viewed independent of its consequences, what you say is right. But the situation is not independent of the consequence because he is the king. Yadyad acharati shreshtaha tattat eva itare janaha. The men who occupy exalted positions, men that occupy the important positions in society, they need to be extra careful in following the ways of Dharma. If I want to be the military leader, the captain of the military, I must be in the forefront. My soldiers, ordinary soldiers, if I am captain, I must be in the front line. My soldiers must be behind me. If it is a program where some honor is being given for our having won a battle, then I should push my soldiers to the front and I should take the back seat. That is the leadership. Now Rama is a leader. He is the king. If king puts 100 steps forward in the line of Dharma, the citizens will put 1 step forward. Did you catch me? Did you get me? If king puts 100 steps forward in following Dharma, the citizens will put only 1 step forward. If king violates Dharma on 1 occasion, the citizens will violate on 100 occasions. Whenever you are cleansing any building, the cleansing must take place from the top. Any cleansing process must commence from the top. You are cleansing, say, a tower, a temple tower. You are cleansing, you are cleaning it with water. How are you going to do it? You have to cleanse it from the top. You cannot cleanse it from bottom. First cleansing bottom and then moving on to the top. You can't do. Cleansing process must commence from the top. Like that, the leader, a sannyasi, a raja, a guru, they should be 100% ideal. They must be 100% ideal. It is only on such a situation you can expect a sort of scrupulous adherence on the part of the citizens to the norms of Dharma. But in today's India, we see the reverse. They expect citizens to follow all dharmic instructions while leaders are very busy in violating them.
So it's really confusing because I tell all the stories to my 7-year-old daughter. For example, Ramaya Rambhadra, when we are talking about that, she asked me stories of Parashurama, and if I tell her that he killed his mother when his father asked him to do, and I can't explain. So logically it is very hard to convince a kid. For me, and I was a kid, I just believed whatever, he's a god, right? Now I have to explain someone who kills his mother according to his father's wish is worshipped as one of the Dashavataras. So it's really philosophies. If you don't understand the philosophy, it is very hard to tell a story and make a questioning kid get convinced about that.
But here you see, mother being killed by son for no reason or for some valid reason. That question will come.
There are very trivial reasons for a logical kid like that.
It is trivial for a kid, but remember, somehow Renuka had slipped into an impure frame of mind and incurred the wrath of her husband as a result of it. You know the story probably, no explanation is probably necessary here. She had slipped into an impure way when she observed the king having his bath with his queens in the river. A sort of thought crept into her mind which was unbecoming of the wife of a great rishi. He was one of the great rishis. Jamadagni was a great rishi. Those rishis, remember, they can be treated on par with today's the great intellectuals of India like our Abdul Kalam Anna Hazare and all such people. They were the trendsetters of culture in India during those times. A rishi is the guru of Raja himself, supposed to be perfect in every sense. Perfect in every sense. The wife of a rishi entering into that utter violation of a very gross crime. It's crime because the worst crime is entertaining oneself with the violation of one's fidelity in the relation with wife or husband. Dharma broadly distills down to the strict observation of three tenets. Matruvat paradareshu, seeing your own mother in other women other than your wife. Seeing your own son in other men other than your husband. Every other man is your son other than your husband. This is applicable to a woman as it is applicable to man. Seeing your own mother in every other woman other than your own wife. This is the foremost tenet of Hindu culture, Indian culture. Matruvat paradareshu, paradravyani loshtavat. Never covet the belongings of others. Don't touch it with the toe of your leg. Anything that does not belong to you. That is second in order. Atmavat sarvabhuteshu. Do not for no reason hurt others, either directly or indirectly. Matruvat paradareshu, paradravyani loshtavat, atmavat sarvabhuteshu, vichyante dharma buddhayaha. A man of dharma buddhi must consciously always keep this in the center of his vision, in the center of his attitude towards fellow beings. Remember, the first in order is violated. And whenever there takes place the gross violation of dharma, he deserves punishment in any way at anybody's hand. See here, see in Mahabharata, Arjuna killing his guru. And the Dronacharya loved Arjuna 100 times more than he loved Ashwatthama. Killing Bhishmacharya, a man of highest exaltation, most revered man in political circles of those times. Killing a guru, well, nothing is more precious, nothing is above dharma, the order. Order itself is supreme. Rama abandoning Sita, Rama even deserting Lakshmana. Well, everything is okay. So when Lakshmana, probably towards the conclusion of Ramayana, we come across that Yamadharmaraya wanted to meet Rama. Rama kept Lakshmana at the entrance door, giving him a strict instruction not to allow anyone inside because Yama wanted to have the privacy, absolute privacy of Rama, because he wanted to come and remind Rama that your incarnation period is over. You have to move back to your original abode. A very, very important information he wanted to convey. Only the man of Kala, the man of time, Shiva and Yama, Surya, they are all men associated with Kala. Yama has come as an agent of probably Shiva, or Lord Supreme, to remind Rama that he must go back to his original abode. Lakshmana is there not to let anyone inside when this very important political counseling is going on, socio-political counsel, we should say, going on. But Durvasa comes there. I want to see Rama forthwith. Now itself I want to see Rama. Sir, something is going on. Rama doesn't want anyone to. You know who am I? I am Durvasa. I curse you so that the whole lineage of you will become extinct right now. Your lineage will stop here. I will terminate your lineage. Now Lakshmana is in a fix. If he allows Durvasa, going to be severely punished by the king. Now he is not Rama brother, he is Rama the king. Very severe punishment is awaiting Lakshmana if he let Durvasa go inside. If he doesn't let Durvasa go inside, the whole lineage will go. By taking recourse to the first option, he will be totally doomed. Because Rama may give him any punishment, like even murdering him, killing him, subjecting him to any sort of punishment of that kind, sentenced to death. Rama may sentence him to death. But that's all his personal, miserable condition he is made to go through. But if he doesn't take recourse to, the whole lineage will suffer. Which way I have to take? Lakshmana is in a fix. Let me suffer personally so that I can save my lineage. So here also, what is the issue that comes into operation? taking more of personal risk for saving others. He is saving the lineage, but he himself is being put to the personal, he's doomed. He's doomed. He's going to doom himself. So taking all the responsibility on his person, lets Durvasa go. So order is, and Rama comes, he takes Lakshmana to task, and Lakshmana, what is the punishment? Now you have deserved because you have sent to Durvasa. You are going to be sentenced to death. You will be killed in public. A punishment like this to Lakshmana, who was very shadow of Rama. There is an important meeting, court meeting is there, all important courtiers have come, king's advisors, prime minister, everybody is there. Vasishtha advises Rama that Lakshmana must be killed. He must be killed first. He has utterly violated king's rule, king's order. Hanuman uses its power of judgment and says, Vasishtha, with due respect to your chair, Prabhu Ramachandra, let me have a little say. I am a small man, but let me have a little say. Sending him out of the kingdom also is equal sometimes to sentencing him to death. In king's punishment criteria, the details of the criminal procedure of those days probably, if a person is sent out of the kingdom, out of the borders, it is as good as sentencing him to death instead of killing Lakshmana, sentencing to death. Let us better send him out. So Lakshmana was sent out. When Lakshmana was sent out, Rama could not bear separation even for a day. He thought there was no business for him to continue in this earth anymore. He also went to that Sarayu river, did pranayama, drowned himself in the water, got drowned off. What does it mean? Personal relations will never come into play when the question of maintaining the collective order, the cosmic order is at stake. You want to maintain the order, or you want to heed the personal relations or the personal prejudices that you have. Order. Kill Bhishma, kill Drona. Arjuna, personally thereby you are going to suffer, I know. That is something that is unbearable for you, I know. But remember, the order is at stake. Otherwise, order gets disturbed. Ritagam Satyam Param Dharma. Ritam, Satyam and Dharma. These three must under any circumstances be held up. You have to hold it up, you have to uphold. So like that, the tradition of the land goes like that. And therefore, it is never a fault on the part of Parashurama that he killed Renuka because of her slippery only. She invited that sort of a apparently cruel treatment at the hands of her son. And the story goes on, you all know. There is nothing like confusion or any sort of, there is no intricacy, no sort of an intricacy there.
Any other questions?
I had one question.
Yeah, please. It seems you are all bent upon observing Shivratri today.
Definitely, Swamiji.
Okay.
When you are here, we can do that.
Yes.
Swamiji, I had a question. It is probably confusion in my mind, but probably you can clear it up for me and many of us here. In many institutions all over India, just now you said that even the citizens have to follow the dharmic instructions and dharmic way of life, whereas the leaders can lead a wayward life, or something which is adharmic, that way. So when that happens, how do we as individuals and collectively as citizens who are trying our best to lead a dharmic life, how do we erase this sort of negative things that is going on, and how to make it a better situation for whether it's an organization, whether it's a small community or a big geographical area or something like that. How do we go about it in some briefly, some instructional words from you?
You mean the NRIs in America?
NRIs?
Or the people back there in India, the societal people?
I think so. What you said happens in India, happens here too. The flavor is different. That may be a vanilla there, here it's a chocolate, that's all. Anyhow, so...
A man is to here, wherever he is, he's a man again. Here he is human.
Thank you, Swami.
Yes. What happens, you see, most of the times, we know what we should do, but somehow we hesitate to face the consequences of the action that we are contemplating to take. What consequences it may lead me to, that $1,000,000 question will appear. It will loom large. What consequences are awaiting me? Well, if I am an individual that is protesting against such a violation of the right order, consequences are going to be a little bit tough. But when you become a part of that collective protest, collective effort, then definitely you can contain the consequences howsoever grave they are. So for all such things, we need a collective effort. Men must be always conscious that they have certain duties which they need to perform under any circumstances. Yes, all these things will have to come right from our childhood days. Parents will have to breed their children in an atmosphere of this type. They should not hesitate to impress upon the minds of the children about their duties, how you must always be alive to the calls of collectivity around. Always respond to the call of society. You be always an agent for upholding the spirit of the collective welfare. So like that, some sort of an advice, some sort of a teaching must be constantly hammering itself on the formative minds in their formative period, the tender minds of children in their formative period. Vivekananda's parents used to give that counseling right from childhood days. Ramakrishna's parents used to give. And there may be hundreds of other examples also, which I may not be in a position to know. But these two, Shivaji's mother used to say, Shivaji, when you grow up, you must be like that. Even Vishveshwaraya, in case of Vishveshwaraya, there was an acute drinking water problem in Vishveshwaraya's village. One day, one lady that was so lovable to Vishveshwaraya, making use of an opportunity, said, Vishveshwara, at least when you grow up, you please see that there is no water problem anywhere in the world, drinking water problem. Vishveshwaraya was hardly 10-year-old at that time. Bharata Ratna Mokshamandam Saryam Vishveshwaraya, the greatest engineer mankind has seen, and one of the statesmen of India. After Vishveshwaraya grew up, you see, unknowingly how that particular instruction, ministration, led the boy to become a world-renowned engineer who did so much during Bombay Presidency, during his tenure as the executive engineer in Bombay Presidency, Mysore, Hyderabad, Yedan, Sakkur, almost in all parts of the British Empire during those times. So, when we properly impress upon the young minds right in the tender age itself, that consciousness will simply grow like anything. That is the ideal way. But at this point of time, at this stage, when you are grown up like 50 years old and 40 years old, 60-year-old people, what should we do? I think the only way is to have a gathering of this kind periodically and bring some subjects of collective interest, common interest for discussion, prepare a group that will put its voice against what is going on and taking all the methodological steps to see that a particular violation has taken place which has adversely affected you all in a particular locality, bring it to the authorities concerned, and if they remain to be indifferent, then go to inform the same to the higher authorities, and like that in different stages, I think all suitable steps can be taken and the ill effect of what has taken place can be very effectively nullified. That is how I think one solution can be contemplated. Yes. I think we can conclude at this stage.
Yeah, it's already late. Let's conclude today's session. Swamiji has given you a glimpse of the exalted philosophical contribution of what we call India. And I think it is unmatched in the history of mankind, the philosophical contributions that India has made. And I had a chance to hear Swamiji about 5 years ago when he came to the Bay Area, and since then I have been a devotee, and I have more than one reason to be thankful to him, because he is also my Veda Guruji. He's the one that taught me the Vedas, how to chant in the proper ways. And we have continued that, although lately not much. And I went and visited Swamiji at his ashram and also the school that he runs. The moment you visit that school, every kid that has come from underprivileged background is so happy, so happy. And how can they not, coming under the influence of Swamijis like this, that are able to interact day in and day out with the philosophical guidance that Swamiji and the teachers can give. And that's also the reason why the school comes up with such wonderful results in the exams. So if you would like to contribute to that school, you can write a check to humanglory.org and hand it to the people here that are collecting the checks. If you have not got the checks, you can write the checks later on and send it to humanglory.org.
And Mr. Subra, there is tax exemption for this organization.
I was going to say that. Yeah. It is a 501c corporation incorporated in the US, and it is a tax exempt contribution that you can make. So that way you get the benefit also of the tax exemption. So that is one request that I make, and I would like to conclude today's program by thanking both the Swamijis. Even though they are here only for 3 days and they have conducted many satsangs, this is the first meeting where they formally gave lectures of the immense contributions that India has made. That makes us all feel proud and basically walk with your chest held very, very high. So we thank immensely both the Swamijis, really appreciate their coming here, and we expect their future visits also to this area. Thank you so much.